Right now, somewhere, someone is finding out a friend lied to them, a partner cheated, a business partner stole from them, and their brain is about to do something it has been doing for over 300,000 years. Because betrayal isn't a modern problem, it's one of the oldest wounds a human can experience. And long before therapists, before laws, before prisons, our ancestors had to figure out one brutal question. What do you do with someone who turns on their own tribe? The answer is more disturbing and more familiar than you'd expect. To understand what ancient humans did about betrayal, you first have to understand why it hurt so much in the first place. For most of human history, you didn't survive alone. A single person, alone on the savannah 100,000 years ago, was dead within weeks. No defense against predators, no way to gather enough food, no one to share information about where danger was. Survival meant being inside a group of maybe 30 to 150 people who trusted each other completely. That trust wasn't a nice to have. It was the entire survival system. If you shared your last piece of meat with someone, you were betting your life that they'd do the same for you later. Anthropologists call this reciprocal altruism, and it only works if cheaters get caught and punished. So evolution did something clever. It made betrayal hurt, not just emotionally, but almost physically. Brain scans today show that social rejection and betrayal activate the same regions as physical pain. That's not a coincidence. Your brain still thinks betrayal can kill you, because for most of human history, it actually could. So, what happened when someone was caught betraying the tribe? In most hunter-gatherer societies studied by anthropologists, from the Hadza in Tanzania to the Kungsan in the Kalahari, the punishment almost never started with violence. It started with something far scarier: exclusion. Ancient humans didn't have prisons. They didn't need them, because banishment from the group was, in a very real sense, a death sentence. Without the tribe's shared knowledge, protection, and resources, a lone exiled person in prehistoric conditions had a life expectancy measured in days, not years. This is why anthropologists believe ostracism became one of the most powerful social tools our species ever developed, more powerful, in some ways, than physical punishment. You didn't need to hurt someone to control their behavior. You just had to threaten to remove them from the group. Some tribes practiced it in stages. First, public shaming, being called out in front of everyone. Then reduced sharing, smaller portions of food, less inclusion in hunts, and only if the betrayal was severe enough, theft of a mate, repeated lying that endangered others, murder, would the tribe escalate to full exile. But some betrayals were too dangerous to solve with distance alone. If someone's betrayal put the entire group at risk, revealing a hiding spot to a rival tribe, stealing critical food stores before winter, or killing another member, some archaeological and anthropological evidence suggests more direct consequences were used, including physical punishment or, in extreme and rare cases, execution by the group itself. This wasn't rage, it was closer to what we'd now call collective justice, because there was no police force, no court system, no third party to appeal to. The group itself had to be judge, jury, and enforcer. Researchers studying modern-day hunter-gatherer societies with similar social structures to our ancestors have observed something interesting. Punishment was rarely carried out by one furious individual. It was almost always a group decision, because a lone person taking revenge risked becoming the next target of exile themselves. In other words, revenge had to be sanctioned by the tribe, or it was seen as its own form of betrayal. Not every betrayal ended in exile or punishment. Most of the time, ancient humans did something much quieter, and honestly, much more relatable. They simply stopped trusting. Anthropologists believe the human brain evolved an incredibly sensitive cheater detection system, a mental filter specifically built to notice when someone isn't reciprocating fairly. Psychologists have run experiments showing humans are dramatically better at solving logic puzzles when they're framed around catching a cheater than when the exact same puzzle is framed neutrally. Our brains are, quite literally, wired to be betrayal detectors. Once someone was caught betraying the group once, that information spread fast. In small tribes where everyone knew everyone, a reputation for betrayal was almost impossible to escape. You didn't need a formal punishment system. The social network was the punishment system. Word traveled, alliances shifted, and the betrayer found doors quietly closing without a single confrontation. Sound familiar? It should. It's exactly how reputational damage still works today. Just now, it travels through text messages and group chats instead of a fire circle. Here's the part most people don't expect. Ancient tribes also had systems for forgiveness. because permanently losing a member wasn't good for the tribe either. Every person represented years of accumulated skill, knowledge, and labor. Losing them meant losing all of that too. So many societies developed reconciliation rituals, ways for a betrayer to pay back the tribe. This could mean giving up a larger share of a hunt, publicly admitting wrongdoing, or performing extra labor for the group. Some anthropologists compare this directly to modern restorative justice systems, the idea that repairing harm matters more than pure punishment. It's a reminder that even in humanity's earliest social structures, we weren't just wired for revenge, we were wired for repair too. Because a tribe that could forgive and reintegrate a valuable member was often stronger than one that couldn't. So the next time betrayal knocks the wind out of you, a friend who lied, a partner who cheated, someone you trusted who let you down, know that the feeling in your chest is ancient. It's the same alarm system that once meant the difference between life and death for a person standing around a fire 100,000 years ago. We don't banish people to the wilderness anymore, but the instinct to pull away, to warn others, to quietly stop trusting, that's the same tool our ancestors used to survive. Betrayal hasn't changed, only the consequences have gotten smaller. If you found this as fascinating as I did, digging through the research, hit subscribe, because next time we're covering what happened to ancient humans who got left behind by their tribe on purpose.